Well, hi folks, meteorologist Michael Wilhite here, bringing you a quick update. I want to kind of update you first off on some snows that we are expecting here in the region tonight, but also want to take a little bit of a look at the storm system for later on this week as well. If you have not subscribed yet, be sure to click that subscribe button, maybe even hit that bell so that you can get notifications on these. I do these videos pretty regularly. Wilhite WX here. Let's dive right into the data here. We do, first off, before we get even into the bigger system, we got to talk about some light snows tonight, because sometimes these light snows, well, they don't amount to much, but they get ignored by a potential bigger system down the road. And when that happens, that you can end up causing some problems because they end up taking you by surprise as a result of that. So first off, we do have some snow showers early tomorrow morning that roll through the area. You can see it's not as if this is going to be much of anything impressive, but you know, we'll run with about a 40% chance of some snow showers around here tomorrow, and those primarily fall during the early morning hours. You're looking at about 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Here you've got a few sort of rotating through the area as you go throughout the morning, and then as things pick up in the afternoon, eastern Kentucky here rather, and southeastern Indiana may end up getting a little bit more of these than the rest of us. But by and large, you're not going to get a tremendous amount of accumulation with these. You're probably going to be looking at a light dusting at best. And the reason why, if we just take a look at temperatures here as you start off tomorrow morning, we're at or below freezing over most of the area as you start throughout the day, but we will warm up just a little bit into the afternoon. And so by the early afternoon hours, you know, we're looking at, you know, 35 or so here towards Louisville, maybe 33, 34. Around there, possible over southwest Indiana. So we're going to warm up to just above freezing, maybe make it up to the mid-30s over a chunk of the area tomorrow. So I think anything that does fall is going to be pretty limited on what can stick. So, you know, that said, again, you may get a light coating possible over the area. So watch for a few split spots or two, and that's going to be about all that you really need to worry about. Let's talk about a little bit later on this week, just really quickly here, because we do have a storm system set to come through later on this week, and that could provide some interesting times with it. Right now, you know, we had some decent model agreement, and then we don't have decent model agreement. And then we have it, and well, we're back to one of these days today where we just don't have decent model agreement. The GFS is all but about lost this storm. Let me sort of back this up here. No, actually, this is the 18Z. Let me get back here. I had it on 12Z, but it refreshed and went to 18Z since it's starting to roll in. Maybe it'll correct itself here, but let me sort of back up. So if you will remember right, what we were supposed to have here was a storm system that would roll in on Thursday. It's been consistently saying that it changes to snow late on Thursday night, and then we get several inches on Friday. But watch what this does. Here we are into the early days on Thursday, and you got a cold front in here with no rain going on here at all until it's way down to our south. So that's frankly just kind of goofy. If we take a look at what's going on into the upper levels of the atmosphere here, well, there you go. Here's the energy as it's coming down upon us, and certainly there's some energy coming in here, especially for the overnight hours. Here, you know, there's enough energy that, you know, you should be able to produce some precipitation out of there, but the surface map is not reflecting what the energy is showing in the upper level. So frankly, I think that the GFS this morning, this model is, you just got to scratch your head and say, well, it's just the GFS doing GFS-y things. A trash run, in my opinion. CMC, the Canadian model, well, it did catch on to it. It kept up with that idea. It's actually a little bit colder. As you go into the early parts of the day Thursday, it's already snowing across the area, and then it snows all day, and then it snows a good chunk of Friday across the area as well. It's a pretty decent-sized snowstorm out of that. Probably a little too beefy with it. If you go, so you've got the GFS saying, I don't know what in the heck's going on. That's basically what the GFS is saying. You look at the upper level energy and then you look at its surface map, they make absolutely no sense. It's like they're not talking with each other. So the GFS is just junk in my opinion. And you got the Canadian saying pretty decent snow totals, probably a little too heavy if we're honest. And then you got the Euro. And remember, the Euro has not been consistent either. It's gone back and forth, and it's back into its rainy phase. Here we are on Thursday. The rain moves into the lower Ohio Valley here. And finally, as we get into the overnight hours, it starts to change to snow, but it's pulling away, and it gives just a very, very light amount of snow at best here. So you could go from something like the GFS showing virtually no snow with this, and, you know, the Euro kind of seeing that same kind of a thing. to the Canadian model just showing Snowmageddon here. For the record, I don't think this is going to happen. The idea of 8 to 10 inches of snow here is just kind of ridiculous at this point. I wouldn't say I guess it can't happen, but the chances of that actually verifying are slim to none, in my opinion. The chances of no snow at all verifying, I'd say that that's more possible than this, but I'm not sure that this is going to verify either. If I were a betting man at this point, I think it's going to be on the lighter side of snow. I wouldn't get your hopes up for a big snowstorm like this. I wouldn't get completely let down and say it's going to be no snow either. I have a feeling there's probably going to be a snow component to this, but you may be looking at more like a 2 to 4 inch swath around the area. Not a huge snowstorm, but a little bit of snow as a result of this. The good news is, over the coming days, things will start to get better. Here's a look at that upper level energy and where it's at. It's this upper level low spinning in the Gulf of Alaska that's going to put off a piece of this that I've got circled for you. It'll kick a piece of the energy off of that, and then it'll dive down on here and then create the energy with that. Well, the energy starts to come on shore as early as tomorrow morning. So this is for 7 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. Well, as a result of that, some of that energy may even start in the lead waves, come on late tonight into the overnight hours. So certainly from tomorrow onward, it'll get better, and then the energy will be fully on shore and into our upper air network as we go throughout the day on Monday. So by the time you get Monday nights and into Tuesday's runs, things will start to get a little bit better. If you see where I've got circled here with this energy coming on, and we just look at our upper air network sampling stations, you see at least a couple of them right there in the Pacific Northwest. So again, that will be, I think, a pretty big help for us, and these models will get better. Right now, they're struggling. And the reality is, anytime that you have an open wave like what we are seeing, an open wave meaning it's just sort of an open wave of energy, there's not really a closed low that's going to form and ride over that. Some models have hinted at it, and then they backed off of it. They keep coming and going. On most of them, it's been just more of an open wave in the upper levels of the atmosphere with this cold front. A phased jet stream, open wave, but nonetheless more of an open wave rather than a closed low. Whenever you get into these, you generally struggle with those until you get it into the upper air. That's just the way. And you do with about anything, but open waves especially. So, until we get this sampled into the upper air network tomorrow, I don't think things are going to get much better. Hopefully they'll start to get better tonight as those leading waves push on board. And then I think the morning run tomorrow will start to get better, and the evening runs tomorrow night will be even better. So I do think that we'll be able to start to have a much clearer picture on Monday evening and on Tuesday. I really do. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping so. It makes sense meteorologically for us too with the way things are working out. But the bottom line is, I would say, folks, at this point, all solutions still have to be on the table. It could be an all-rain event, it could be nothing, or it could be some snow. I have a feeling that there's a snow component to this, but I don't know that it's going to be as big as what the Canadian wants to see. Props to the Canadian. It's been the most consistent with showing this. The Euro's gone back and forth most of the time. GFS had been fairly consistent until this morning's run, and then it just sort of dropped it. We'll see what this afternoon's does. But the Canadian has pretty much consistently showed snow. It's waffled on the track of whether we get it or northern Indiana or Kentucky, but it's consistently showed that snow component no matter what. And so at this far out, with the energy not being sampled, that's about the best that you're going to get, and hopefully we'll be able to fine-tune those details a little bit tomorrow. That's it for this quick update, folks. Keep it tuned right here to Southern Indiana Weather on Facebook, at WillHiteWX on Twitter, and of course be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll have more videos and plenty more posts coming your way over the coming day. So stay tuned and take care, and I'll see you next time.